Well, welcome back, everybody. And we've got another interview. And I'm sure you're going to enjoy this because you've got me, a Yorkshire man, and we've got a lovely we've got a lovely Scottish lady. So apologies now for everyone who can not understand what we are on about, but I'm sure we'll try to speak in English our best that we can anyway. So we've got with us the lovely Rosie Hunter from Scotland.
Hi there.
And how are you doing, Rosie?
I'm very well, thank you, Jason. Thank you. Yep.
Now, I know Scotland is sort of the top end of the country. So for our viewers or watchers on Christian Runners, whereabouts are you in Scotland?
We are in a wee town, a wee village called Symington, which is about 20 miles south of Glasgow on the west coast.
Oh, right. So are you near the seaside?
We're about 7 miles from the seaside, so we're right in the middle of the countryside, so beautiful.
Fantastic. Oh, super. Right then, so what we'll normally do is we'll sort of have a little chat about your running, and then we'll get on to the Christian part. Of course, obviously it's Christian Runners. And I'm always interested to know what people do running wise, and because everybody, as you've probably seen already, everybody's different. We've had fast runners, slow runners, and I'm actually quite impressed with you, Rosie. You know what I mean? I know people see my times, but what you do is fantastic. Just tell people how you sort of got into running and sort of what you actually do.
Right. Well, it started way back 2013-14 time. My brother, Phil, ran a marathon.
Yeah.
And after that, my husband, Norman, he ran a marathon, and I thought, that sounds really good, really fancy giving that a go. So I just started plodding round the block. Couldn't even run round the block, a mile round the block. I was out of breath. And then about a year or so later, I thought, I really fancy giving this marathon malarkey a shot. And then Norman said, oh, by the way, you're doing the Edinburgh Marathon. I've signed you up for it.
So did you think about doing something really small first?
No.
No, just something really long. Okay.
Just go for it.
Yeah, excellent.
So no, I didn't build up to it really. So about a month or so before that, there was a marathon running. It's a kind of small one. It was from Glasgow to Kilwinning, and it was one of Philip's old workmates, my brother, that was running it. Yeah. So I thought, well, we could do that together. So me and my two brothers ran that one. I think I walked an awful lot of it rather than running it, but it was an experience. And then after that, I've really loved the marathons. But then I decided to give the ultra marathons a shot, which I love the trails, but I'm too nervous to go out on the trails on my own. Yeah. So my biggest one to date, I ran 53 miles on the West Highland Way, and that's the one I'm proud of.
That is amazing. That's amazing. That's actually something I want to do, the West Island Way, but walking. I don't think there's no way I could run it. But,
walking is much easier.
So obviously, is it the thrill? Is it the scenery? What do you sort of enjoy doing these long distances?
Well, I'm a bit of a slow runner. I'm a plodder rather than I am a fast runner. Yeah. So I don't particularly like the short distance because I know I've got to go fast on them. So if I can take my time, and I love just being out in the scenery and just enjoying God's creation, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. It's time alone, and I know the kids can't get me, so. Yeah,
that's fantastic. Yeah, I mean, it's something I've seen so many people do, and in my local running club, that I'm part of, we've got a lot of ultra runners, and they've tried their best to get me, but I don't know. You know what I mean? It's funny, isn't it? I know I'm quite quick at smaller stuff, but
yeah, as a lot of people have said, it's like a picnic while you're running. So basically, you're just having all these it's a run between the checkpoints. Yeah. Then you can have another wee picnic and see what goodies you've got.
I suppose I am tempted. I will have to have a go at one in a few years' time. I think I've definitely got to do one. But I mean, I've done a few marathons and they're long enough. I've had enough after 26 miles, and to go further, it just sounds painful.
I think the thing is you've just got to break it down into the different sections, because if you think about the whole thing, it's You think there's no way I can do that, but yeah, I break it down at like 6 miles to the next checkpoint. Oh, we've only got another 8 miles to go. We're fine.
Yeah. Just before we sort of started to do your interview, I just thought the memory verse we have on our backs really suits you so much because it's let us run with endurance, and I think an ultra runner needs way more endurance than somebody doing a 5K park run. So you know what I mean?
Yeah. As somebody once said, you like to get the money's worth out your race fee, so you just stay out there for longer,
So you mentioned it's your brother Phil, isn't it, who's a runner, and have you got another brother who runs too?
I've got another brother, Mike, who's a runner as well. So he's into the ultra marathons now as well. So
right.
Philip's more a faster runner, just a kind of shorter distance. He's done a few marathons, don't get me wrong, but yeah.
Yeah, well, obviously we see, and I'm sure I'll get down to interviewing Phil. You know what I mean? Because he pops up quite a few times on our Facebook group. Yeah. So, if you were to do a park run, obviously I know there's loads in Scotland. What sort of your local park run?
Well, we used to go to the Dean Park run, which is in Kilmarnock. Or there's a Troon one because we're kind of halfway between both of them where we are. Yeah. So it depends whether you want the hilly one or the flat one. So Troon's a flat one.
Yeah, I think it's always a good thing if we point out sort of where people sort of near where they live and what park runs. So I suppose if there's other Christians out there that want to join up, you know what I mean, and have a run sometimes, they might drop on you there, you know what I mean, as you're running round. So I've heard, is it true, you're in the London Marathon?
That's right, yeah. Finally managed to actually get a place.
That's good. You know what I mean? I've been watching people's posts, and there's actually quite a lot of Christian runners running this year. So it'll be, you know what I mean? If somehow
that's good.
Get a lot of people to meet up. I know it's hard because everybody's running different times, but it'd be wonderful if people could meet up somewhere and say hi.
That'd be good, yeah. Yeah. Really a bit of moral support.
Yeah. So, does anybody else in your family run? Your kids, your husband, anybody else?
My husband's a runner. Yeah, he's the one that kind of got me into the marathons and the ultra running. And my daughter, one of them used to be in the Kilmarnock Harriers, but she's since given that up. Just knee injuries and schoolwork and everything's just got on top of her. Yeah. So she's given that up just now. But no, they all keep fit. They won't commit to anything. But
have you been busy during the lockdown and everything then with your kids, and have you doing that lovely homeschooling?
Oh, it's great fun. Counting down till we go back to school now.
Well,
we've been trying to do some homeschooling.
Yeah. Well, down in England, where obviously most of the kids are going back on next Monday,
right.
Obviously, I work in a school, and obviously we've still got kids in, key workers and vulnerable kids. So it'll be just more kids in now. So it's get back to normality, I think. It
feels a little bit more normal again then.
Yeah. So obviously it's great to hear that you're a long distance runner. So anybody out there who wants any tips, I'm sure, get hold of you on Facebook.
I'll try my best.
Yeah. If I want to get into it, I'll be giving you a bell and saying, right, what do I need? What food do I need? What do you actually eat on these 30-odd, 50-odd mile runs?
To begin, I mean, I wouldn't take a lot of gels or anything like that. I try and eat normal food. So sandwiches or whatever to kind of begin with. And then you've got your flapjacks and jelly babies. Jelly babies and Skittles.
Sounds good. You're selling it to me now.
It is. It's just a picnic.
Sweet. Yes. I'm in. Sweet. We get park runs.
Milkshake, chocolate milkshake.
in my local park run, and because I'm an event director at my local one, it's just literally a mile from where I live, and we have to run past the cafe twice.
Right.
And they're always cooking, obviously, sausages and bacon, and it's every time you run past, it feels like you just want to run in, but
that's just too tempting.
One day we might do something daft like that. Okay, so obviously it's great to know you get out and you train and long miles, and you know what I mean, that's sort of, it's great to keep fit like that, and obviously your family and everybody. So, church-wise, last week, if you probably heard last week, we were talking to Richard, and he come from a very different beginning as it was church-wise. And if you tell us a little bit about how you started and how you got into sort of Christianity.
Well, my parents were both Christians. I had the privilege, although I didn't grant it at the time, that I was brought up in a Christian family. And I was taken along to every church service there was going, and special kids campaigns. If there was anything, I would be there. And it was after being at one of the kids campaigns when I was 7 that I realised that I was on the wrong path and I needed Christ as my saviour. So from then, I've kind of came on. I wouldn't say very faithful at times. I've had rough patches, but we're now in a little assembly in Prestwick, Glenburn Gospel Halls, where we attend now, and very happy.
I actually, my church, it was called a little village called Cutsite, which is in a place called Castleford, and that's a gospel hall, and we've sort of changed. It's a long story, but we changed the name to Cutsite Christian Church. Put a new extension, so it's quite everybody that comes, they always say it's one of the liveliest brethren churches that we've been to.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely not. Especially with me on the drums, I make a lot of noise, so it's. But no, that's lovely. So, have you always lived in Scotland, gone to church in Scotland, and that?
No, we've had a short space after we were married. Just about 6 months after the second child came along, Norman got a job relocation down to Morecambe.
Okay, right.
And we lived down there for a couple of years, but neither of us settled down there at all.
Just Morecambe.
Lovely part of the country.
It's the home of Eric Morecambe. Bring me sunshine, isn't it? Bring me sunshine.
It certainly wasn't all sunshine.
Unless you like, is it cockles where they go out?
We just didn't settle.
Yeah, they go out for cockles, don't they? There.
Yeah, that's right.
So you didn't like it there? Then?
That's right. Yeah.
Was it
no, we didn't at all. I'm a bit my mummy's girl, really, to be honest. So I was just glad to be back home beside my mum and dad.
It's funny actually, because you really do get attached. Obviously, you've got family, friends, and obviously where you're from now, and it must be hard. I know people do move away, and I've moved from where I was born to where I live now, and I've had a few houses. I've travelled no more than 6 miles.
Yeah.
So I've basically lived in Leeds, or part of Leeds. I mean, a little bit just outside all my life. So it's this is home to me, and I love it.
Yeah, it's strange though when you've been away and then you come back after a few years. Things have all moved on, and you haven't been part of that. You know, it's to try and find your place again was tricky, but we're happy now. So yeah,
I'd love to come to. I've only been, I think, about 2 or 3 occasions I've been into Scotland. So every time I've been, I mean, the mountains, especially up sort of Ben Nevis way and the Trossachs or Trossachs, however you say it.
As you say, I mean, you want to do the West Highland Way, absolutely fantastic, path to be on. My daughter and I walked it 2 years past. She was only 13 at the time.
Wow, amazing.
And she absolutely loved it. Well, she didn't love it at the time, but she did. She loved the sense of achievement after it. So I mean, it's just gorgeous part of the world up there.
It's definitely on my bucket list. It's been on for a while because I watch a few little YouTube things and walkers, because I do a lot of wild camping and things like that. I just love just to be outside in God's creation. It's just so nice. But I've seen that, and it's like I've got to do it this year, hopefully, prayerfully. I'll do that. Okay then, right then. So have you got like a little scripture or anything you'd like to share with us? Anything that sort of...
Well, there's one scripture. Obviously, we've through my life we've had a few kind of trialing circumstances. my husband had heart surgery a few years back, and there's one verse that always stood out to us, and it was, "I can do all things through Christ which strengtheneth me." Philippians 4:13.
Right.
And it's one that's always stood by us.
Yeah. Oh, super. So what happened to your husband, and is he okay now then? Is he?
He's absolutely fine now.
Oh,
he
brilliant.
was, as a dying wish to his mum, she'd said, "If you're doing all this silly running, would you just get your heart checked out?"
All right. Yeah.
I was like, "Well, I'm absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with me, Mum." She's like, "Please just do it." So he thought, well, okay, Mum's going on, I better obey her. And they found out that he actually had a congenital heart defect.
Wow.
So his heart valve hadn't formed properly. So he had to give up the running for a good wee while.
Right.
And then he got open heart surgery a couple of years back. They managed to repair it, and he's now back, and he has completed an Ironman since then. So he's absolutely fine.
That is amazing. Oh, brilliant. Yeah. How God works, isn't he, in mysterious ways.
Exactly.
That's amazing. Oh, I mean, I love chatting to people, and I can't wait to meet everybody face to face. But obviously, with COVID and everything, and obviously everybody's up and down the country, out of Scotland, right down south, and but it will be great. And what we're hoping to do is, after lockdown, is try to meet up a lot more at park run. So we're on the group, we can say, we're going to meet at this park run or this park run or this race. Or there's a few people doing that ultra race with Rosie, and you can join her. And I'll come in the car and give you some sandwiches.
Always need support crews.
Yeah, fantastic. So, is there anything else you'd like to share with anybody, or are you?
No, I'm fine with that. Yeah.
You're fine with that? Lovely jubbly. Well, it's been really nice just to meet somebody from Scotland, and I have got some more friends in Scotland.
Oh, that's good.
I've got some contacts with, I don't know, I think they're from sort of Glasgow way. Is it Glow Gospel Literature Outreach?
Oh, Glow at Motherwell, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I
know a couple of people up there, and one of them's a Christian runner too, so he's up that part of the world. So it's But I will one day we will meet. You know what I mean? If we don't meet face to face, we'll meet in heaven one day anyway.
Yeah. That's right.
Right, so it's lovely to meet you, and I hope you do really well in London Marathon.
Oh, thank you. Yes.
Is it October? Is it October? Did they change it?
It's October, yes. Yeah. So a wee bit later than normal in the year, but hopefully things will be back to normal. So
a bit
by then.
Train. Are you aiming for a time, or just get round with some sandwiches?
I'm not sure I'll be allowed to take my sandwiches this time, but no, I'm really just hoping to complete it, because I have been with the lockdown and everything. Other priorities with the kids and all that have kind of taken over. Yeah. So the training hasn't been as I would have liked it to be, but we're getting back there, and I've still got plenty of time, as I keep telling myself.
Oh, plenty of time. Yeah. Just build. Obviously, just build them miles up bit by bit, and listen to your body. That's what I always say. Listen to your body. Yeah. Right. It's been
to
talk to you.
Yeah.
It's been great to talk to you, and I just pray that your family,
thank you very much,
your church, everything, it'll be great, and you know what I mean. Lots of blessings to you. And again, thank you very much. And we'll see you sort of on the Facebook group chatting. So God bless.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the opportunity, Jason.